All right, ready to dive in. Today, we're tackling the world of social media influencers.
Ooh, yes. I love this topic.
Me too.
Okay.
We've got some great stuff to work with this time, actually.
Oh, tell me more.
Well, you guys sent in some really interesting sources. We've got an article from Buy Social Traffic.
Okay.
Yeah, they're great. And this article is all about how to actually become an influencer, like a step-by-step guide.
Nice.
And then, to get the other side of the story, we've got a HubSpot YouTube video.
HubSpot, the marketing giant.
The very same. And they're looking at influencer marketing from the business side, so it's like getting the inside scoop from both sides of the equation.
I like it. It's like a 360-degree view of the whole influencer landscape.
Exactly. And what's so cool is even though these sources come from totally different perspectives, they both highlight one crucial thing.
What's that?
Trust. It all comes back to trust.
Oh, absolutely. The article even cites a study. 92% of marketers found influencer marketing effective.
Wow, that's a huge majority.
It is. But here's the thing. It only works if the influencer has that authentic connection with their audience.
Right, because people can spot a fake from a mile away, right?
Exactly. It's not about having millions of followers. It's about building genuine relationships with the people who trust your recommendations.
So let's say someone's listening and thinking, hey, I could be an influencer. Where do they even begin?
Well, the article lays out 9 steps.
9 steps to influencer stardom.
That's right. And step 1 is all about finding your niche.
Okay, niche. So like what you're passionate about.
Yeah, but they go deeper than that. They call it the PIP method.
PIP. Okay, I'm intrigued.
It stands for passions, interests, and problems. So it's not just about what you love. It's about identifying a space where your expertise can help people.
Oh, I like that. So it's got to be something you're genuinely knowledgeable about, not just a passing trend.
Exactly. And they even tell you to use Google Trends to validate your niche. Like, see if there's actually an audience out there searching for that kind of content.
That's smart. Because you could be the most passionate person in the world about, I don't know, antique doorknobs.
Antique doorknobs up.
But if no one's searching for that online, you're kind of talking to a wall.
It's a reality check.
Mm.
Passion is great, but there needs to be demand, too.
Okay, so niche is locked in. Step 2 is building your personal brand, right?
Yes. And this is where it gets tricky, because it's not about creating some fake persona.
Like pretending to be someone you're not.
Exactly. It's
Huh?
about showcasing the real you, but strategically. Figuring out how to present your unique self in a way that resonates with your target audience.
I can see how that could be a challenge, like finding that balance between being authentic and also presenting your best self online.
It is a balance. And the article stresses consistency, too.
Oh, right. Like you can't be all witty and fun on Instagram and then suddenly super serious and professional on LinkedIn. It just wouldn't make sense.
It would be confusing. People want to know who they're connecting with.
Yeah.
So consistency across platforms is key. Got it. Niche. Brand.now comes the fun part, right? Content. Step 3, what do they say?
They emphasize high quality, engaging content, of course.
Makes sense.
But it's not just about, churning out blog posts or
But
video.
there's more.
Oh, yeah. They advocate for a diverse content mix.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Videos, of course, and posts, but also stories, maybe live streams. It's about keeping things fresh.
Oh, I see. So people don't get bored.
Exactly. And they also talk about tailoring your content to each platform.
Ooh, good point. Because what works on TikTok might not work on LinkedIn.
Exactly. You've got to understand the vibe of each platform.
Right. Like I wouldn't post a dance challenge video on a professional networking site.
Unless that's your very specific niche.
Okay, true. There's always an exception.
Yeah.
But I see your point. So step 4 is about choosing your platform wisely.
Yes. And they list a bunch of options. Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, even LinkedIn for those going for a more professional audience.
Yeah, there are so many to choose from these days. It can be overwhelming. But the article actually links to specific guides for each platform.
Oh, wow. That's helpful. So you can really dive deep into each platform and see what strategies work best.
Exactly. It's like choosing the right storefront for your business.
Love that analogy. Okay. Platform is chosen. Content is flowing. What comes next?
Step 5 gets real. They call content consistency the heartbeat of influencer existence.
Oh, wow. Serious stuff. So how often are we talking about posting here?
They recommend 3 to 4 times a week, which honestly sounds exhausting.
It does. How can anyone keep up with that?
Right. It's a huge commitment.
Mm,
But I guess if you're only posting once a month, you're not going to stay top of mind for your audience.
That's true. Out of sight, out of mind, as they say. And they mention different posting frequencies for each platform too, right?
Yeah, they do. 1 to 2 posts a day on Facebook, maybe 3 on Twitter, and then a constant stream of content on TikTok. Each platform has its own rhythm.
It's like having to juggle a million different balls at once.
It is. But hey, that's the life of an influencer.
So we've got consistent content, we're engaging with our platform. What's next on this influencer journey?
Step 6 is all about engagement. And this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay, tell me more.
It's not enough to just post your content. You need to actively engage with your audience.
So like responding to comments and stuff.
Exactly. And valuing feedback, even being transparent about your own successes and struggles.
It's like you're building a relationship, right?
Precisely. It's about building a community around your brand.
I like that. A community.
Yeah, and the article mentions using things like hashtags, contests, even collaborations with other influencers to really foster that community feeling.
Oh yeah, collaborations are huge these days.
They are. It's a win-win for everyone involved. The influencer gets access to a new audience, and the brand benefits from the influencer's credibility.
Plus, it can be a lot of fun to work with other creators.
Absolutely. It can spark all sorts of new ideas and creativity.
Okay, so we've talked about finding your niche, building your brand, creating content, engaging with your audience. Now comes the part a lot of people are probably wondering about.
The money part.
The money part. Step 7. Let's talk monetization.
All right, let's get into it.
What are the options here?
Oh, they list so many. Sponsored posts, product lines, affiliate marketing.
Wow, that's like a whole new world opens up.
It does. They even mention things like webinars and online courses. So you can really leverage your expertise and build a whole business around your influence.
It's mind-blowing. But they do emphasize the importance of staying true to your brand, even when you're promoting products.
Oh, absolutely. You don't want to come across as a sellout. You need to choose partnerships that align with your values and resonate with your audience.
Makes sense. People can tell when you're not being genuine.
Exactly. And that can damage your credibility in the long run.
Okay, so authenticity is key. What about step 8? What's that all about?
Step 8 is all about collaborating with brands and other influencers.
Like finding the right partners to help you grow.
Exactly. It's about finding people who can amplify your message and introduce you to new audiences.
It's like teamwork makes the dream work, right?
That's a great way to put it. And they also talk about using those collaborations for creative campaigns.
Like those really cool, out-of-the-box ideas that go viral.
Exactly. When you bring together different perspectives and skills, you can create some really amazing stuff.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. Niche, brand, content, engagement, monetization, collaborations. It's a lot to take in. What's the final piece of the puzzle? What's step 9?
Step 9 is all about adaptability.
Adaptability.
It's about recognizing that the digital landscape is constantly changing.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. What's hot today is old news tomorrow.
Exactly. Trends come and go, algorithms shift, new platforms pop up all the time.
So basically, you can't just rest on your laurels.
Nope. You have to be constantly evolving, learning, and adapting to stay ahead of the curve.
It sounds exhausting.
It can be, but it's also what makes this whole field so dynamic and exciting.
True. There's never a dull moment.
Definitely not.
Okay, so that was a whirlwind tour of the 9 steps to becoming an influencer. But remember, we also have that HubSpot video, which tackles influencer marketing from the business side.
Ah, yes, the other side of the coin.
And that, my friend, is where things get really interesting.
I can't wait to dive in.
Me either. But first, we need to take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment to explore the business perspective on all things influencer. Stay tuned.
Hey, aspiring influencers. If you're ready to grow your following and actually start earning from your social media, you need the Influencer Starter Kit. This kit isn't some one-size-fits-all guide. We create a personalized plan just for you and even offer done-for-you services to help you get there faster. Skip the trial and error and build your influence with a real strategy that works. Click the link in the description and use promo code PODCAST to get 10% off at checkout. That's PODCAST for 10% off the Influencer Starter Kit. It's time to turn your passion into profit.
Okay, we're back and ready to keep digging into this influencer world. We've talked about those 9 steps to becoming an influencer.
Right, the roadmap.
And we even got a little sneak peek into how businesses approach these partnerships, but I feel like we've only scratched the surface.
Oh, we've just begun. Remember, those 9 steps are a great starting point?
Yeah.
But there's so much more to it, so many layers.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. What else did you find?
Well, remember when the Buy Social Traffic article mentioned choosing the right platform? Yeah, they listed a bunch of options like Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, even LinkedIn for the more buttoned up crowd.
Exactly. They actually included links to additional resources.
Oh, right, for
Okay.
each specific platform.
Yeah. I thought those were really interesting. It's like, once you have the basic influencer foundation, you need to specialize.
So if someone wants to be a YouTube star, they should check out those extra YouTube resources.
Exactly. It's about understanding the nuances of each platform. Like, what works on TikTok might not work on LinkedIn, you know?
Right, totally different vibes.
Each platform has its own unique style and audience expectations. It's like choosing your specialty within the broader field of influencer. Are you a YouTube comedian, a TikTok dancer, a LinkedIn thought leader?
Oh, I love that. Okay,
Yeah.
platform-specific strategies. Got it. What else?
That HubSpot video had a really interesting point about how businesses can actually support influencers in promoting their products effectively.
Okay, yeah, they talked about providing like tips and stuff.
Right. They mentioned things like giving pre-approved wording.
So the influencer doesn't have to come up with everything from scratch.
Exactly. Or even showing examples of successful integrations from past campaigns. It's like they're really trying to set the influencer up for success.
Which makes sense, right? If the influencer feels lost or confused, it's not going to be a good look for anyone.
Exactly. It's all about collaboration, not just throwing a product at someone and saying good luck.
Right. It's a partnership. Both sides need to be invested in making it work.
And think about it from the audience's perspective. If an influencer seems unsure or awkward about a product, it's going to be obvious.
Totally. People can smell inauthenticity a mile away.
And that can really damage the influencer's credibility. Remember, it all comes back to trust.
Okay, so we've got platform-specific strategies, support from businesses, and always keeping that authenticity front and center. What else?
Both sources talked about consistency.
Right, that came up a lot.
But what I found interesting is they approached it from different angles.
Oh, tell
Yeah.
me more.
The Buy Social Traffic article was all about consistency in content creation, right? Posting regularly to keep your audience engaged and build that trust factor.
Yeah, like 3 to 4 times a week. That's a lot.
It is. But the HubSpot video talked about consistency in terms of the brand's messaging and approach.
So being consistent in how they work with influencers.
Exactly. Being genuine and approachable in all interactions.
Yeah.
Having clear communication and efficient workflows. It's about creating a consistent experience for everyone involved.
I see. So it's not just about posting consistently, it's about being consistent in every aspect of your brand.
Precisely. Inconsistency creates confusion and distrust. It can make it hard for people to connect with you.
Okay, consistency. Check. What else?
Transparency. That was another big theme in both sources.
Ooh, yeah, I remember that.
Again, they came at it from slightly different angles.
I'm sensing a pattern here. Lay it on me.
The Buy Social Traffic article focused on transparency in terms of disclosing sponsored content.
Right, so being upfront with your audience about any paid partnerships.
Exactly. No sneaking around or trying to hide those relationships. But the HubSpot video talked about transparency from the business side.
So like being open with the influencer about their expectations.
Exactly. No hidden agendas or surprises. Clear communication about goals and how they see the influencer fitting into the campaign.
Okay, that makes sense. Transparency builds trust, and we know how important trust is.
It's the foundation of any successful relationship, really.
Okay, consistency, transparency. Am I sensing a theme here? Is communication next?
You know it. Both sources emphasized open communication throughout the entire process.
I can see how that would be crucial, especially when you're dealing with, creative projects and potentially sensitive topics.
Absolutely. Miscommunication can lead to all sorts of problems, but regular open communication can help build trust, address concerns, and make sure everyone's on the same page.
Right. It's like they say, communication is key. Oh, okay, so I've got consistency, transparency, communication, and all of these things seem to point back to that foundation of trust.
Exactly. It all ties together.
It's like weaving a tapestry of trust. Okay, what else stood out to you?
Both sources talked about the importance of really understanding your target audience.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The Buy Social Traffic article talked about using tools like Google Trends to research your niche and see what people are searching for.
Right, you can't just assume you know what your audience wants. You have to actually do the research.
And the HubSpot video took it a step further. They talked about the importance of understanding the influencer's existing audience.
Because the product has to be a good fit for them too, right?
Exactly. If it's not something they're interested in, it's not going to work.
It's all about finding that sweet spot where the brand's goals, the influencer's brand, and the audience's interests all align.
Yes. When you get that right, it's magic.
Okay, I feel like we've really gone deep here. We've talked about the steps to becoming an influencer, the business perspective, the ethical
We've
considerations.
covered a lot of ground.
But there's one more thing I wanted to touch on. Remember that question about insider groups and bonuses for influencers?
Oh, yeah, that's a tricky one.
Do you think those tactics enhance authenticity? Or do they create this kind of exclusivity that might turn off some people?
It's a tough call.
Right. Because on one hand, it could be seen as a way to reward loyal influencers.
Right, like a VIP
But
club,
on the other hand, it could make some people feel left out.
like they don't have access to the same information or opportunities.
It's a delicate balance. It really depends on how it's done.
I think transparency is key here. If it's done in a way that feels open and inclusive, it might be okay. But if it's too secretive or manipulative, it could backfire.
Yeah, it's all about being mindful of the potential impact on the audience.
Exactly. We have to remember that ultimately, the audience is the most important piece of the puzzle.
Well said. Okay, I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about, but don't worry, we're not done yet. We'll be back in a moment to wrap up our influencer deep dive and leave you with some final thoughts to ponder.
Hey, aspiring influencers. If you're ready to grow your following and actually start earning from your social media, you need the Influencer Starter Kit. This kit isn't some one-size-fits-all guide. We create a personalized plan just for you and even offer done-for-you services to help you get there faster. Skip the trial and error and build your influence with a real strategy that works. Click the link in the description and use promo code PODCAST to get 10% off at checkout. That's PODCAST for 10% off the Influencer Starter Kit. It's time to turn your passion into profit.
Okay, we're back for the final stretch of our influencer deep dive. Phew, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have. From wannabe influencer to savvy business owner, we've explored it all.
I know, but there was this one last little nugget in the Buy Social Traffic article that I wanted to circle back to.
Okay, what is it?
They talk about overcoming challenges and adapting to change.
Oh, right. And that's huge, especially in this fast-paced, ever-changing world of social media.
Right. It feels like a constant uphill battle.
It is. Trends come and go, algorithms change. It's like trying to hit a moving target.
Exactly. New platforms are popping up all the time. You really can't just sit back and relax once you've made it. You've got to be on your toes.
Absolutely. It's
Right.
like you said earlier, what's hot today might be old news tomorrow.
They even talked about constantly refining your value proposition.
Yeah, like what makes you stand out?
Mm.
Why should people follow you? You've got to keep asking yourself that question.
And the answer might change over time.
It probably will. Your audience will evolve, the platforms will evolve, you'll evolve. It's all about staying ahead of the curve.
It's like you're running a marathon, but the finish line keeps moving.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think it speaks to the entrepreneurial spirit that so many influencers have.
In what way?
Well, they're not afraid to take risks, to experiment, to adapt. They're always pushing boundaries and trying new things.
And that's what keeps things interesting.
Exactly. It's what sets them apart from traditional celebrities or marketers.
Right. They're more nimble, more connected to their audience, more willing to evolve.
They have to be. It's all part of the game.
Okay, well, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling super inspired right now. We've talked about the steps to becoming an influencer, the business side of things, the ethical considerations.
And the importance of staying adaptable.
Right. It's been quite a journey.
It has. And I think the biggest takeaway is that influencer marketing isn't just some passing trend. It's a force to be reckoned with.
It's shaping the way we consume information, the way we connect, even the way we make decisions.
It's a whole new world, and we're all figuring it out together.
And that's what makes it so fascinating.
Absolutely.
Well, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive. Thanks for joining us as we explored the wild world of social media influence.
It's been a pleasure.
Remember, whether you're an aspiring influencer, a business owner, or just someone who spends way too much time scrolling through social media, this is a conversation that affects all of us.
It does.
So stay curious, stay informed, and keep asking questions.
That's the best advice I can give.
Until next time, keep diving deep.